Quoting eonline.com, quote, "The killing has had more lives than a stray cat," unquote. Quote, "The drama was cancelled by AMC after its second season and then brought back for a third and then cancelled again and then brought back. It was the final season, we think," end quote.
Hello friends, Josh here. This is On The Bubble Podcast, Season 2, The Renewal. For all episode links, resources and anything else we mentioned in today's episode, head over to onthebubblepodcast.com. Just so you know what you're in for today, this is part Season 2 trailer and part sharing of a TV show that just wouldn't die. The Killing from AMC wouldn't die. That's kind of like this podcast when you think about it.
I'm Keir from Gallifrey Public Radio, a Doctor Who fandom podcast and part of the Gonna Geek Network, just like the show you're checking out now. Shows in the network are individually owned, and opinions expressed may not reflect others. Find other interesting geeky shows at GonnaGeekNetwork.com.
Just quickly, guys, something a little different that we are doing in Season 2 of On The Bubble that we weren't doing in Season 1 is we have a Patreon at patreon.com/Joshua C. Liston. So that's patreon.com/Joshua C. Liston. So if you get enough value out of today's episode that you might want to throw a couple of freckles our way, that just helps us keep this pirate ship afloating. And with any level of donation at the Patreon, you'll get not only our cancellation-proof love forever and ever, you'll also get early access to our monthly bonus interview episodes, which we will be starting in February 2021. Righto, that's probably enough plugging for one episode. We're talking about The Killing, and I guess I better get into it before you guys want to kill me. Okay, let's do it. Quoting theweek.com, quote, "The Killing became one of the early poster children for the pitfalls of internet buzz," unquote. Quote, "Critics embraced The Killing in its early days, but skepticism grew as the first season dragged its feet," end quote.
Quoting bustle.com, quote, "When the season finale failed to solve the central mystery, who killed Rosie Larson, viewers were outraged," unquote. Quote, "Season 2 finally answered that long, drawn-out question, but it was too late for most. The show shed a full half of its audience from 2.7 million at the start of Season 1 to 1.4 at the end of Season 2. AMC cancelled the series on July 27, 2012, but Fox Television Studios, the production company that produces the show, refused to let go of its show without a fight," end quote.
Quoting the New York Post, quote, "AMC cancelled the crime thriller after ratings fell in its second season, then revived it after Netflix agreed to help finance a third season. The network then cancelled it a second time after Season 3, only to have Netflix, sensing there was still viewer interest, come back and order a 6-episode fourth season to end the series," end quote. So guys, I know that was a lot of quotes, a lot of end quotes, and a whole lot of .coms in there. But the reason we decided to start Season 2 of On The Bubble podcast with a show like The Killing, it's no Game of Thrones and it's no Walking Dead or Breaking Bad, it just was never that popular, is it gives us a unique insight into a show that was saved not so much by fan action or by the moving of ratings, it was more so saved by power players in the industry who had an interest for whatever reason in the show, a personal interest. In this case, the power players at Netflix, seeing an alignment between a show like The Killing, the content and tone of the show, and the user base of their platform. So a streaming platform where things like binge watching, all-day watching and no commercials are just part of the viewer experience. Quoting theweek.com, quote, "The rage over the first season was primarily directed at a meandering, slow-to-unfold story," Will that problem be mitigated on Netflix, where binge watching is the norm and pacing problems can seem less glaring? End quote. The second reason why we chose to start Season 2 of our show covering The Killing, as it provides some insight into the fact that fan engagement and buzz online around a television property doesn't necessarily have to be positive for networks and platforms to stay interested in renewing a show. In fact, and it sounds a bit weird, from the research that we've done on this particular show, it seems like The Killing's own lack of resolution and myriad red herrings that led to most of the fan outrage around the pacing of the show actually appear to have helped somehow the show get multiple renewals from multiple networks. I personally think it's a case of Netflix could see how invested the fans were in a potential version of where this show could go. The fans of The Killing were just begging for the show to be better. And as a network, you'd rather have someone there saying, give us something but make it better, than no fans there saying nothing at all. I think shows like The Killing open up several more doors for us to explore as a podcast in the world of TV fan culture and the TV industry, how the industry machinations work behind the scenes, how personal interest in a particular property or a show, which we've seen in the past with Jeff Bezos and The Expanse, how fan action might not map directly to why something is cancelled or renewed, particularly with these big streaming companies where maybe the traditional metrics mean less and we're not sure about what truly means something to these particular individuals or their corporations. It allows us to explore and also talk about the industry insiders that also work really hard to save a particular show, whether they think it has a lot of potential or they personally love the property. Okay, guys, we might leave it there today. Thank you so much if you're a returning listener. If you're new and this is the first time you've heard the show, thank you so much for sticking it out. It's a pretty niche topic, TV fandom and Save Our Show fan campaigns. I know that. And if you've checked out the first 34 episodes, which now constitutes Season 1, I'd love to know what you think about all that stuff because I've just re-uploaded them all within the last 2 weeks. But they were actually produced over a period of nearly 5 years. So there's a lot in there. I grew as a podcaster. The show changed. The show hopefully got better. And I'd love to know what you think about that. Feedback at onthebubblepodcast.com. My name is Josh Liston. Make sure you check out the Patreon if you think the show's worth throwing a few dollars at. You'll get bonus episodes once a month for doing that. Patreon.com/Joshua C. Liston. You can find me on all the socials at Joshua C. Liston. And 2 big shout-outs. The first shout-out is to the Gunner Geek Network, to Stephen and SP who have always supported this show and everyone else on the network. Thank you so much for having me back. And it's really exciting to be part of the network. I can't wait to see where it goes in 2021. And I'll just leave you with this. And this is a bit of a sad note to leave us on. If you do listen back through Season 1, you might hear a lot of the same voice in there. That was actually a friend of mine, Josh R. Moore, who sadly isn't with us anymore. He's a great loss to the Australian podcast community. I miss him like a brother. And it was listening back to hear his voice that I had recorded in these episodes that made me want to do On the Bubble podcast again. I didn't set out to start this show again. I just wanted to hear Josh do some voiceovers because he was just so good at it. So I'll leave you with that one. So go watch The Killing. Go watch some other show. Next week we're talking about Dark Matter. I only just finished watching it. I'm super angry about. I won't go too much into that now. onthebubblepodcast.com. Thank you to the Gunner Geek Network, but most of all, thank you to you. See you later.
This episode was edited by Dead Set Podcasting. If you want your podcast to sound this good, check out deadsetpodcasting.com/services. Get the sound you're chasing.